if something was inefficient, if something was not ideal, if something was costing you money, you'd fix it in a week in your business. Yet you just continue to tell yourself one of these three, because these three lies, every little lie we have about whatever's going on, they all chunk up to these three. My name is Brian. I help executives inside of corporate America get wealthy in their mind, their body, and their relationships. I am an expert at this because I did it myself. I sat in your seat for nearly 2 decades. I screwed it up for a really long time, and I figured it out. And I'm not special. If I can do it, so can you. Welcome back to the show. My name is Brian Pannuzzo. This is the Success Lift podcast. I'm playing around with different versions of my little intro. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I should completely change it to something else, or if you're enjoying this one. If this is your first time here, my name is Brian. Welcome to the show. This is the 223rd episode of my podcast. I just realized we're almost pushing up on 225 episodes, which are like these little mini milestones in a long journey that never really ends. Obviously, this podcast at some point will come to an end. I don't know when that is, but 4 years ago, I decided I was going to turn a microphone on and start talking into it. And man, it's evolved. It really has evolved. I had lots and lots of guests on. I used to talk about many different things. Kind of whoever the guest was, I decided to talk about their expertise. And you find your voice, you find your way. And just like you in your journey have settled into certain behaviors, settled into certain beliefs, we're going to talk about some of these things today. The three lies that you tell yourself. And when I say you, I mean me. Used to, hopefully, most of the time, not anymore. Most people tell themselves, but we just put our heads down. We put our blinders on, sometimes in a good way, oftentimes in a bad's not the right word, but not a productive way. Compound interest works in both ways, in both directions. It can compound and build in your favor. It can also chip away at you slowly, over and over and over again. And it doesn't necessarily feel like you're doing anything that detrimental, but you pick your head up 10 years later, 15 years later. I'm raising my hand right now for those of you not on YouTube, because that's exactly what I did. I woke up, in air quotes, to a broken body. I was overweight, to a broken belief system, to addictions. I drank too much. I did too many drugs. I gambled too much. None of them were big enough problems to put me into rehab, to set off alarm bells amongst my circle of friends or family. All of it was very professionally done. I was a professional at all of these things. I always showed up to work. My marriage was pretty good. I've done a lot of podcasts. I've talked a lot about pretty good and the death of it. Pretty good is over in my life. I'm not saying that my life is where I want it to be. In fact, my life is nowhere near where I want it to be in certain areas. But I'm done with ever saying those words and being comfortable with it and not starting to sweat. Because that is the death of so many amazing people that I come across, especially people inside of corporate America. You build this incredible life when you look at it from afar. Most people would go, that's pretty amazing. I would take that. Look at all the things that you get to do. Look at all the places that we went. Look at what we did this summer. We're pushing on the end of summer right now. At the time of this recording, it's late August 2024. I bet you've done some pretty cool shit this summer. Would you give that up? Probably not. But when you take it in the context of what it's cost you throughout your lifetime, would you sign up for the life exactly the way you have it today, 20 years ago when you started? And I know for a fact, every single person listening to this would say, I'd take most of it. I'd take some of it. I hope you'd say a little bit, at least that. But not everything that you've been doing for the last 15 or 20 years or 10 years or wherever you find yourself inside of your professional journey, inside of your career, inside of your marriages, inside of your life as a husband, a father, a mother, a wife, a whatever. There's something that you've been like, damn, well, that cost me more than I thought. Figuratively, sometimes literally. And I'm here to hopefully help you unlock that over whatever time it takes. Some of you may hear this right now and go, I'm in. I want to make a decision to do something different. Some other people have been listening to me for the last 2 years and still haven't done a thing. But when I say I haven't done a thing, you stop, you start, you try to do it your own way. You know best. You know what works for you. Do you? You're in the same spot you were. And if you could change it, would you? And so that's my goal. Ultimately, high level, 30,000 foot view. Small rant over. We have a new review for the podcast, which I'd like to acknowledge. My man C Bullet 3 left a review on Apple Podcasts. If you are listening to me regularly and you have not rated the show, we have 167 ratings on Apple Podcasts. That could be a lot more. There's more than 167 people that listen to this on a weekly basis. What are you doing? What are you doing for me? I'm recording this at like 4 a.m. I'm recording at 4 a.m. because I want to, not because I have to. But show me some love. Go over to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, rate the show 5 stars. If you don't think it's a 5-star show, rate it whatever you want. Leave a review that takes like seconds. C Bullet 3 met me playing golf. The title is He Birdied 18. Now, caveat, when I birdie 18, that usually means it wasn't a great round. Can't remember the last time I birdied 18, like on a heater coming in off the back nine. So probably was a shit round, and I decided to put a little whipped cream on the dog shit. That was a phrase that I learned very early in my caddying career in high school. I was first time out ever. I was caddying for a guy who was probably 78 years old, and he made like a triple double or triple bogey on the first hole, but he rolled in like a 15-footer. And like, just instinctively, I was like, that was awesome. That was a great putt. And we were walking off the green and he goes, son, that was whipped cream on dog shit. That stuck with me because I'm pretty sure that most of us don't really want whipped cream if it's on dog shit. So anyway, I met Brian golfing, enjoyed the 6 hours we spent together. 6 hours? What the hell were we doing? 6 hours we spent together, and it got me intrigued in his podcast. Balancing work, home, and health has always been difficult. Brian's message definitely helps. I didn't even plan the 2 things. I just started rambling in the beginning, and now I get this review. Balancing work, home, and health, and many other things that I help you do. But that's what I do. That's what I do for people. That's what I've figured out in my life. I've figured out that I'm an expert at that. And I'm an expert in you, which is why I talk to you on a weekly basis on this show. I want to talk to you this week about you being a goddamn liar. And when I say you, I mean you, for sure, me, all of us. We are liars. I've said this before. We often lie to ourselves because, quite frankly, it's easy. It's easier than telling the truth. Last week, I talked about the number one mistake that you have been making, typically in your health and fitness journey. And these 3 lies will also cover that. But in general, the 3 lies that you have grown up to believe as a very successful financial professional. And I promise you, you have told yourself a version of these inside of your career for at least many years. And they're tricky because some are easy to debunk and others, there's weaved in stories and history and personal stuff where we have to like really dig underneath, peel back layers, get under the hood, all those things. I'm going to go quick as I can. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time explaining each one as they need to be. The first one is an easy one, and we'll rip right through this one real quick. The first lie that you are telling yourself is that you don't have time. And all you need to do is spend a little bit of time with me, and I will take that belief, I will smash it into a million pieces. I will show you that you do have time. Okay? If you just start by taking your phone and looking at your screen time. If you have an iPhone, you go to settings, look at your screen time. See how much time you've accumulated on your phone in general, on the apps that we spend time on. Go take a look at how long you've spent on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or LinkedIn recently on your phone. There's a phrase that some of my friends use called your watch and your wallet. If you want to get an idea of what you value, take a look at your watch and your wallet. Your watch meaning your time, your wallet meaning where you're spending your money. If you want to just look at your calendar and your credit card statement, that'll give you a really, really good idea of what you value as an individual, where you're spending your money. And credit card statement is kind of a placeholder for like where you spend your money. Obviously, you could fucking blow cash. You could be paying the bookie every week in cash. You could be buying drugs weekly. I know people who do. I used to. Right? So like, where are you spending this precious asset that we all have? Because that's the only equalizer. We all have the same amount of time. So what are you doing with it? How often are you watching TV? How late are you staying up? How much are you scrolling on your phone? If you want to do you want to absolutely throw up, do a time audit. I'll have new clients that tell me that they don't have time, before I laugh in their face. We'll do a time audit. Get a notebook, note section of your phone, Google Sheet. I don't give a shit what you do. Whiteboard, if you have a whiteboard in your office, doesn't really matter. There's a whiteboard right there. That's why I point to that instinctively every time I say whiteboard. For anyone who's not on YouTube, please go to YouTube and check out the show. Can you subscribe on YouTube? Our subscribers are growing a little too slow for me, to be honest. And I would love for you to go check me out there on a weekly basis. You listen on Apple, on Spotify, check me out on YouTube every once in a while. I'm back putting on a little weight, everyone. If you're wondering, putting on a little weight so the shirts are getting a little tight again. I'm going to cut it down for a trip to Miami in November. Look like an absolute savage in Miami. So I'm excited about that. We're putting a little bit more weight on. I'm going to put a little bit more muscle on. And then I'm also focusing on becoming a little bit better athlete right now. I got to be a better athlete. Back to time. You have it. Start writing down what you did every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes. Just write down these 3-4 things. This one thing. All right. Get as specific as you can, but write it down. At the end of the day, do this for 3 to 5 days. 3 days is probably fine. Start to look at what you did. It'll horrify you. If you're honest. And that's the one thing that most people aren't. They're not honest because it's easier to lie. Not because we're bad people. It's because we don't want to actually face the truth. And that's why most people, and this is slightly off topic, won't track what they put in their mouth. When I tell them the highest leverage activity for them to achieve the body composition, to lose the weight, to look better naked, to look the best you've ever looked in your life, is to start tracking the food that you put in your body, at least for a period of time. Brian, that's really hard. I get it. I've only been doing it for 428 straight days. But you don't understand, Brian. I travel. I do this. I had this client event. Okay. We'll get into that with line number 2. So line number 1 is you believe you don't have time. And that is the most generic one that every successful professional that I've ever worked with believes. That is what I believed. I changed my life inside of corporate America in your seat. The mistake that I made in the first couple years of this new mountain that I'm climbing, this new career that I'm building, is that I didn't realize the new people that I would meet. Now, obviously, so many people know me from my prior life of 2 decades inside of Wall Street, corporate America. But I'm meeting now 5 years out, more and more and more people who did not know me. And they're like, oh yeah, I heard about your story. You were all screwed up and you left Wall Street and then you figured your life out. No, I was all screwed up and then some. And I figured out my life. I transformed my life in your seat. In your seat. doing exactly, some of you, exactly what you do every day. For others, that's figuratively exactly. Grinding it out, 10 to 12 hours a day, 1 hour commutes each way, client dinners, some travel, trying to be dad and husband on the weekend, trying to repair my marriage. I did it in your seat. You can't tell me it's not possible, because what I did wasn't even that hard. Meaning, it wasn't like crazy stuff. And so that's why I'm an expert, because I was you. I am you. Some days I'm still you. So you got time. Promise you got time. Don't ever tell me that you don't have time. I will come off the top rope. I've said this before on the podcast because I don't know many wrestlers, but I do remember Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I'll come off the top rope. I'll come off the what do they call it? Turnbuckles? Whatever. The things, my wrestling friends will be absolutely horrified by me right now. Hulk Hogan leg drop, baby. I'll come for you. I'm coming for you if you tell me you don't have time. That's line number one. Line number two. This one gets a little bit more complicated, but I usually smash this one real quick too. You believe somehow your life is different. You believe you've told yourself a story. You've told yourself a story that the things you see other people doing, you can't do. You can't do because your job requires you to do certain things. I've gotten on the phone. I've had some clients have some ridiculous results lately. Ridiculous. You want to see some transformation photos, just start to pay attention to some of my online channels, like social media stuff. On my email list, by the way, Brian Pannuzzo, email list, go to the successlift.com/join. Daily email fire. It's fantastic content. Impactful. Won't waste your time either, because I know that you don't have much time. A lot of people believe when I show them some of these, when I talk about clients, these are people that I speak to that know the person that transformed. And they're like, yeah, but he has it this way. And you don't understand. When people say that, I start to salivate. I start to climb up on the turnbuckle. You got to check me out on YouTube. I'm like doing all these visual things. I'm climbing up on the turnbuckle, ready to come off and absolutely smash you with the elbow drop. Because you are lying. Your life is not different. Look, I understand you believe it is. I understand you are a unique individual. I understand that you have unique situations. I know that you have a history of belief systems, from things that you've experienced, from things that you've done. But I'm telling you that all of our problems chunk up to the same fucking ones. Same ones. And you are not that unique. When it comes to your problems, you are not. We all have them. They're all very similar when you get down to it, when you generalize it enough. And so again, if I can do it, if hundreds of people that I've worked with now can do it, if the people that I'm currently working with that are getting crazy, crazy results, the ones who are committed, if they can do it, so can you. Your life is not that different. You think that I don't work with people that travel on a weekly basis? You think that I don't work with people that have to be out 3 to 4 nights a week? You think that I don't work with people who go home and have less than ideal environments? But you don't understand when I come in, my this, my that. Okay, bro. Great, cool story. Cool story. I mentioned tracking of nutrition. This is not a tracking of nutrition podcast, but it's something that I do on a daily basis. Why do I do it on a daily basis? Number one, because I ask my clients to do it for a period of time. Because like I said, it's the highest leverage activity you can absolutely do when looking to transform your body. Because it's data, it's information. Think about all the information that you have inside of your profession. And could you do that profession? Could you execute your job with the precision that you do, that creates the success that you have created, which brings in the money that you have without the data? Of course you couldn't. And so why would you wing it when it comes to looking to achieve a particular goal when it comes to like your body? And so we track because we need the info. Is tracking something that I ask people to do forever? No, of course not. Our lives are not meant to put food on a scale, to enter information into an app, to think about consciously, is this 5 ounces? Is this 6 ounces? Is this 4 ounces? No. But it's a skill you develop. You acquire it over time. Just like you've acquired the skills that have produced results inside of your professional career. And I'm going to keep drawing these two back. I'm going to keep tying them all together because it's the same shit. The success that you've created as a professional is applicable to your personal life. I've talked about this before. Go back to welcome to my TED Talk. You have all the tools. You possess all the tools necessary. Use them. Well, we don't track forever, but we do it for a period of time. So I have currently tracked for something like 428 days or so in a row. I'd have to look. And for those of you who know math, that is over a year. Now, here's another important stat. I am 10 years into this journey. I am several years into a pretty impressive transformation that's taking me to an even another level. Why do I still do it? Well, I still do it for 2 reasons. Number 1, look at my results. What the fuck would I stop doing it for? I'm getting ridiculous, unbelievable results. I've never looked, I've never felt better. Why would I stop? Because it's not something that's taking away from my life. It's actually additive to my life. It's additive to my success. So why would I stop? Now, the truth is that I could stop and I could hit my targets and I could maintain the body composition that I want and live and feel and look the way I want without tracking. Why do I track? Well, because I work with people who I ask to do that. And so while I don't do every single thing that all of my clients do, since I make such a big deal about the importance of it, why would I not do it? Why would I not show them that it's possible? That's the thing. I show you. I don't ask you to do anything that I'm unwilling to do. For anybody who pays attention to me on my social channels, which are LinkedIn and Instagram at Brian Pannuzzo, go check me out. Follow me there too. Support your boy. For anybody who follows me, pays attention, I think, at least this is feedback that I get very consistently, is that, I feel like you're talking to me. I feel like you're a lot like me in terms of how you live your life from the perspective of you don't take yourself that seriously. You actually enjoy yourself sometimes. You're a normal person. There are so many fucking frauds on social media. When I say frauds, I mean it's not real, everyone. What you're watching is my highlight reel. Do you think I post a shitty call that I have with a client who's not getting results, or a sales call that I absolutely bomb and didn't get the client that is a fucking absolute layup for me? Do you think that I tell you often about all the intricate parts of my bad day, the things that I'm stressed out about? No, of course I don't. No, I don't think I run and hide from them. I have them. I have longer form platforms to talk about some of these things sometimes and allude to some of these things like this. You're watching highlight reels. So stop watching because they're fake and go start doing shit. All right. Give you more time. Stop watching all of our stuff, mine included. If you turn me off and turn everybody else off and go figure out your life and come back in 6 months, I haven't listened to a word you fucking said except that last word in August. And then I went and I got to it. I'd be so happy. Literally, I'd be ecstatic. Ecstatic if you did that. So I do this stuff because when people tell me, Brian, you don't understand. I travel a lot and I'm out to client dinners a lot. And I, went on vacation and I went to my club and it was buffet and I couldn't really figure out exactly what it was. And so I didn't track because it's hard. Cool story. Super, super cool story. You think I haven't been on vacation? You think I haven't been to a golf course or a country club? You think I haven't been involved in a buffet or restaurants? I go to a restaurant multiple times a week. I eat out multiple times a week. Yet I track everything that I put in my body. Is it accurate? I don't know. Do I do my best? Yes. The more you do it, does it get easier? Yeah. So again, your life is not different. All right, I started talking about nutrition too much here. Your life is not different. You are a unique individual. Your problems are generic as fuck. If you can take one thing away from line number 2, there's nobody in the world like you, yet your problems are just like everybody else's. It's a tough one to swallow sometimes for people, but it couldn't be more true. Lie number 3, and this is one that hits really home for me because it's the one that I busted through that made a lot of things a lot easier for me. Lie number 3 is that somehow, in some way, and it all kind of wraps up with the first 2. Lie number 3 is that you believe that somehow, some way, this is the cost of doing business for you. This is the cost of a successful professional life. This is the cost of the money that you have in your bank. This is the cost of the vacations that you get to go on, the time that you miss with your kids, the lack of connection you have inside of your marriage. You can't do it because you have this career. You can't do it because you have these responsibilities. You decided as a 21-year-old coming out of college, you were going to take on this professional path and career. And all of a sudden, these things have all wound up to you being 44 with 3 kids, a marriage that's a body that's pretty shitty, a decent amount of cash in the bank. But if you looked at yourself in the mirror and you looked at your life outside the office, you'd be wildly unimpressed. But then you say, well, how else would I do it? How do I fund everything that I just did for the last 3 months? I can't tell you how many times before I left my career as a bond trader, as a Wall Street professional, as a guy inside of corporate America, that I woke up and I questioned, I don't know if I really want to do this anymore. And then I would say to myself, just absolutely squash that voice, that curious voice in my head. If I'm not a Wall Street guy, if I'm not a bond trader, if I don't bring in this kind of money every month, who am I? What would I do? Who would hire me? How would I pay for all this? I asked myself that 3 to 5 times a week for 2 years. It gives me anxiety sometimes still, like even talking about it, because it was a difficult time for me, because I was figuring out all these other things and I realized there was something disconnected and I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore. I probably never should have done it to begin with. Now, I'm very grateful for that career. It provided me with a lot of things. It provided me, most importantly, with the experience to be able to help you, which I know is my real calling, is with working with people like you. And so if you can just trust me, because I've been exactly where you may feel like you are right now, you do not have to sign up for the entire set of results that you've gotten. You don't have to have the body you have. You don't have to have the joint pain you have. You don't have to have the vices. You don't have to drink 4 to 5 nights a week. You don't have to look the way you do. You don't have to have the disconnected marriage that you may have. You can have sex again like you were when you were dating. You can be connected like you were before the kids were around. You can find the time to prioritize yourself. And oh, by the way, when you do all of these things, the amount of money in your bank account is going to go up, not down. Your professional success is going to continue to ascend. The confidence level that you will take into the office, into meetings, will go through the roof. If you think you're good at what you do right now, wait till you show up getting laid a lot and looking great, and whatever else you're interested in. You don't have to take my word for it. You can ask some of my clients. You can, that's the thing. That's the beauty of this, is that there's proof everywhere. There's proof everywhere around you. You just have to open up your eyes and look. There's proof that people in your office right now, there's somebody who's very successful, fit as fuck, who has a great marriage. Now, I don't know if these are the same people, but somewhere there are people who have what you want. And you keep telling yourself some bullshit story why you can't have it. And why? I just want to know why. I mean, I know why. I've talked to enough people. But I want to know why you think you can't have it. Or why you tell yourself you don't need it. I didn't ask what you needed. I'm asking you what you want. And if you could rewrite the script, if you could draw up the contract again, when we were 21 years old, 22 years old, when we started this version of our career, would we draw it up exactly the way we have it right now? And if we wouldn't, what the fuck are you doing? Waiting another day to not at least chip away at that? Can you, again, everything that I talk to you about your personal life outside of the office, getting wealthy in your mind, your body, and your relationships are applicable to inside the office. If something was inefficient, if something was not ideal, if something was costing you money, you'd fix it in a week in your business. Yet you just continue to tell yourself one of these three, because these three lies, every little lie we have about whatever's going on, they all chunk up to these three. They all chunk up to those three. And so you would identify, if this was a work problem, you would sit down with all parties involved and you would go, yeah, that's not the root problem, this is. And so let's stop fucking around with this and let's go fix this. You'd identify that. It might take you a little time, but you'd figure it out, especially if it was important enough. Then you would fix the problem. But we don't do it in our personal life. And it doesn't make sense to me anymore. And so when people continually say this stuff, it's like my brain starts to scramble. I don't have time for people who think this way anymore. It was part of the process I went through when I talked about the death of pretty good in my life. I still love the people in my life who think this way. I just can't spend that much time with them anymore. So I'm gonna continue to surround myself with people who think this way, because it's that important to me. And if it's not you, it's not you. Again, like I said last week, at some point I'm gonna send you away. I don't have to worry about you leaving me. You're just gonna leave me because you're gonna get tired of this. You're either gonna do something about it or you're gonna get tired of it. One or the other. And I'm okay with both. I really want the former, not the latter. I have text message threads with friends. I'm just like, dude, you guys are either gonna change or we're gonna stop texting each other, type of thing. And I'm cool with both, honestly. I want you to change. You have time. Your life is no different than anybody else's. And you didn't necessarily have to sign up for this exact life you have. You can do something about it. You can change it. It starts by listening to this podcast. The next step is to actually do something. If you do something, reach out to me. Let me know. Shoot me a text if you have my cell. You can email me at brian@thesuccesslift.com. You can leave a review and tell me what you're working on in the comments of YouTube, in Apple Podcasts. Appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic end of the summer. We are almost done with August. This week will be done. We only got 4 months left. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Let's get after it for the last 4 months of the year. See you guys back here next week.